You ever notice how a healthy engine has a specific kind of heartbeat? When it's right, it's a steady, rhythmic thrum you can feel in your boot soles. But when the timing is off, it sounds like a skeleton having a seizure in a dumpster.
That is a terrifyingly specific image, Tiger. Is that what we're dealing with today? Dumpster skeletons?
Hopefully not. We're diving into the dark arts of the tune-up and the mystery of ignition timing. It's one of those things where people think they're performing surgery, but really it's closer to tuning a guitar. You're just looking for that perfect harmony between air, fuel, and a tiny bolt of lightning.
See, that's where you lose people. A tiny bolt of lightning. To most of us, a tune-up just sounds like a $400 bill at the dealership, where they change 3 filters and tell you your wiper fluid is premium. What does it actually mean to tune a modern hunk of iron?
Well, back when I was starting out, a tune-up was a Saturday ritual. You'd swap the plugs, the wires, the distributor cap, and the rotor. You'd get in there with a feeler gauge and set the points, which for the kids listening is a mechanical switch that literally wore down as you drove.
Like a prehistoric computer.
Exactly. Nowadays, the car's brain, the ECU, handles most of the heavy lifting. But the fundamentals of how we create power, horsepower, and torque haven't changed since James Watt was staring at a tea kettle.
So, let's start there. Because everyone brags about horsepower, but then you see those massive diesel trucks talking about torque. If I'm tuning for performance, which one am I actually chasing?
It's a classic tug of war. Think of horsepower as how fast you hit the wall, and torque as how far you move the wall after you hit it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Seriously though, horsepower is the rate of work. It's a calculation of how much oomph you have over time. If you're trying to merge onto the interstate or pass a slow-moving tractor, you want horsepower. It's your high-speed currency. Torque, on the other hand, is pure twisting force. It's the grunt that gets a heavy load moving from a dead stop. If you're pulling a boat out of a slippery ramp, you don't care about horsepower. You need torque to twist those tires into the pavement.
And the tune-up is basically making sure the engine is actually capable of hitting those numbers, right? It's not about adding power, it's about recovering what's been lost to grime and old age.
Spot on, it's about efficiency. You can have the most expensive high-performance engine in the world, but if your spark plugs are fouled with carbon, it's like trying to run a marathon while breathing through a cocktail straw.
So, walk me through the simple tune-up. If I'm in my driveway this weekend, what's the hierarchy of needs?
Most folks start with the spark plugs. It's the easiest win. But here's the mistake I see all the time. People just yank the old ones out and shove the new ones in. I once saw a guy drop a plug, pick it up, and thread it right into the head. He didn't realize he'd closed the gap when it hit the concrete. That cylinder didn't fire for a month. He thought he'd blown the motor.
Oh man, so checking the gap isn't just a suggestion?
It's the law, Alex. Each engine has a specific distance that spark has to jump. Too small, and the spark is weak. Too large, and the coil can't build up enough juice to bridge the canyon. You need that little coin-shaped gauge. It costs $2 and saves 2 weeks of headaches.
What about the distributor stuff? I know my newer car doesn't have that big round cap with the octopus legs coming out of it.
Yeah, we've moved to coil-on-plug systems mostly. Each plug gets its own little transformer sitting right on top. It's more reliable, but it takes the romance out of it. On an older rig, like this old girl here, you've got the distributor. It's a rotary dial for electricity. If those terminal posts inside get crusty, and that's the technical term, the electricity has to fight its way through a layer of oxidation. It's like trying to get a clear radio signal in a thunderstorm.
Crusty terminal posts. I think I had those in college. But let's get to the fancy stuff. Ignition timing. Whenever I hear tuning, I think of a guy with a laptop looking at a graph or you standing there with a strobe light. What are you actually adjusting?
This is where the magic happens.
Is it? Or is it just where you burn your knuckles on the radiator fan?
Both. Usually both. Look, ignition timing is all about when that spark happens relative to where the piston is. You'd think you want the spark to happen exactly when the piston is at the very top of its climb, what we call top dead center, or TDC.
Right? Maximum compression, maximum boom.
That's the logical guess. But physics is a bit of a slow poke. See, gasoline doesn't explode instantly, it burns. It's a flame front that travels across the chamber. If you wait until the piston is already at the top to start the fire, the piston is already headed back down by the time the pressure really builds up. You're chasing the retreating floor, you lose all your shove.
So you have to start the fire before it gets to the top?
Exactly. Ignition advance. We set the spark to happen a few degrees of crankshaft rotation before the piston hits the peak. It's like throwing a punch, You don't start the swing when your fist is already touching the guy's chin. You got to lead into it.
Okay, but there's a limit, right? You can't start the fire too early or the piston will still be trying to come up while the explosion is trying to push it down.
And that, my friend, is how you turn a functional engine into a very expensive paperweight. We call that pinging or knock. It sounds like a bag of marbles being shaken inside your engine block. If you hear that, you're literally witnessing the metal of your engine trying to tear itself apart.
So, how do you find that Goldilocks zone? Not too early, not too late?
On an old car, you loosen the bolt on the distributor and you physically rotate the whole thing. You use the timing light, which flashes every time the number one spark plug fires, to freeze the timing marks on the spinning harmonic balancer. It's a bit of a dance. You're looking for that sweet spot where the engine idle smooths out, the vacuum goes up, and the skeleton in the dumpster finally goes to sleep.
And on a modern car? I assume I'm not twisting the computer.
No, on a modern fuel-injected car, you use something like an HP tuner. You're essentially rewriting the map the ECU follows. You're telling the computer, hey, at 3,000 RPM and half throttle, give me 2 more degrees of advance. It's much more precise and frankly much safer for your knuckles.
You mentioned efficiency earlier. Does a good tune-up actually save me money, or is this just for people who want to go fast?
Oh, it's the best investment you can make. A car that's out of time is basically spitting unburnt fuel out the exhaust pipe. You're paying for gas that's doing nothing but polluting the neighborhood. If your timing is retarded, meaning it's happening too late, your engine runs hot, your gas mileage tanks, and the car feels like it's pulling a sled full of bricks. A proper tune-up is basically giving your car a deep, clean breath of air.
Okay, I'm sold. But give me the tiger truth here. What's the one thing that always goes wrong when a beginner tries this? Because it can't be as easy as you're making it sound.
Well, there is the classic mix-up. You're changing your spark plug wires and you decide to pull them all off at once because it's faster.
Oh no.
Oh yes, every engine has a firing order. The cylinders don't fire 1, 2, 3, 4. They fire in a specific sequence to keep the engine balanced, like 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. If you swap 2 of those wires, you'll go to start it, and the engine will sneeze through the carburetor, shoot a flame 3 feet in the air, and probably scare your neighbor's cat into the next county.
So, one wire at a time?
1 wire at a time. Treat it like you're defusing a bomb.
Wise words. So, we've covered the what and the how, but let's talk about the when. How do I know it's time? Is it just a mileage thing, or does the car actually tell you?
It whispers to you first. A little shudder at the stoplight, a hesitation when you go to pass that tractor we talked about. Maybe the exhaust starts smelling a bit rich, like unburnt lawnmower gas. If you wait until the check engine light is flashing like a disco ball, you've waited too long.
I feel like there's a life lesson in there somewhere. Don't wait for the disco ball.
There really is. We spend so much time worrying about the big catastrophic failures in life, the blown head gaskets and the snap timing belts, but usually it's the little things that get us: a slightly wider gap in a plug, a bit of corrosion on a wire, a timing setting that's just a hair off.
It's the cumulative effect.
Exactly. A tune-up isn't just maintenance, it's a reset. It's saying, let's get back to the basics, let's make sure the foundation is solid, because when the timing is right, man, there's nothing like it. The throttle feels connected to your brain, the sound is crisp, and the whole machine just feels happy to be alive.
I think that's the takeaway. Don't just drive your car, listen to it. And maybe don't pull all the wires off at once unless you want to see a fireball.
Amen to that. Next time, remind me to tell you about the time I tried to tune an engine using a vacuum gauge and a stick of gum.
Wait, what? No, we're doing that now.
That's for the next episode. Clean your tools, people. See you in the den.